Dear friends, since we last spoke there's been some dreary summer weather, but it hasn't stopped me and my mum going on our walks in the mornings, or when I can wake up anyway. I've had many long days of colouring in, which hardly sounds like an adult job, but here we are. I've been reconnecting with the act of simply drawing, and not pressuring myself towards more than that. I crafted with two of my friends, and it was honestly my ideal kind of social interaction. I even got the breakfast of champions, beans on toast, made for me, and apple cake and herbal tea from my friend's extensive selection. If you want to know a way permanently to my heart, then that's it. Of course, I also got some nice clips for my vlog. Hello there and welcome back to my little art room, or welcome here for the first time. I'm trying to have a bit more of a free approach to how I make vlogs, in the sense that I'm still gonna post them every 2 weeks, but I'm just gonna allow them to cover however much time as I want. So like if I have a day where I get loads of footage because I have I go on a big long walk or something, or I actually end up vlogging every day for 2 weeks, we're just gonna see what happens. It could be either of those things, it could be everything in between. So today is mainly a walk, some crafting, me drawing in a sketchbook, and just some bits about what I've been up to in terms of art. And yeah, I'm feeling quite a bit more like in my work now, feeling more positive about Toast in the Machine, my main comic. I really want to kind of persevere with that now because I can sort of see the end in sight, and I do still believe in the project and I want to put it out there in its imperfect state. And yeah, what else? Then you try and learn from life as well, but it's like if I look too much at the life, then I lose the sense of the way I draw, and then it doesn't look how I want because it's not, it's like sometimes I have to look at photos for ages and then draw it without the photo, and then that's when I get it. It's like sometimes I try and do fan art of like my favourite characters, but I really struggle when I'm actually looking at the photo. I have to not look.
You don't want to replicate it too much.
Yeah, then I end up
like realism.
Yeah, I'm what I'm trying to really do is draw a version that's my style, not just a realistic picture, yeah. Because I'm not good at realism anyway, and I don't really like it, so.
You have to chew for ages on an apple.
You do make a meal of things, don't you?
What said you? We are. I think we should call ourselves the Making a Meal of Things group.
Yeah, probably.
Anonymous.
Never made a meal of anything.
It feels like every song we've heard, I recognise it, but it feels somehow more depressing than any other version of it I've ever heard.
Okay, it's time to change the playlist. I get it.
I like some. I've actually enjoyed some of it. I enjoy depressing music.
Oh my god, this is so cute. God, how much joy can I get from this? Endless joy.
But I do like videos where I feel like it's kind of like embracing that thing when you're a kid of just playing with things. Like we don't often, I feel like as adults, we don't often do that. You don't get much chance to just mess about with things. It's just everything's got to have a purpose, and it's quite cool. I couldn't, can you tell I couldn't fit, I realised quite quickly I was not fitting Fleetwood Mac on the thing.
You're so happy with your blueberries. I'm so happy. What's your favourite thing to draw, Sam?
It's people. I like drawing people. I just like characters and expressions and stories and all that kind of thing. So yeah, I like drawing people the most, faces.
It's my least favourite thing to draw. I don't think I can.
A lot of people find it really intimidating, I think, because they're worried about it being inaccurate, I think. And like, I do think there's a long time when you draw faces where it's very but I mean, I still have loads of days where it's really frustrating because like the gaze just isn't quite right, so it doesn't look right, you know, all that kind of thing. There's loads of things I like to draw. I like drawing like trees and nature and stuff, and I do like drawing animals as well. Like, I guess both really, like deciding what kind of story I want to go for. I'd like to do something though that was like the entire even if it was a big project, but like the whole story was complete. Whereas like this one I've been doing, it's just like one issue. It's almost like an episode, if you get what I mean. Like it is a full story, but it's something that's I plan to like continue on with until I'm dead. But I'm saying, you know, like I'd quite like to write something that was like a full story. Great. I might nab a chocolate digestive in a bit.
Oh yeah, honestly, help yourself.
Just once you've mentioned it, you know what I'm like.
It's like putting an idea in your head.
It's like a dog with the word walk. I'm like, biscuit?
Oh, sorry.
So, just looking through some of the drawings that I did on that little craft day, this was kind of the view of myself in this little mirror my friend has, because they often joke that I look at myself in the mirror, because it's kind of like when you catch yourself in the mirror and you can't help looking, and then people think you're really vain, you know. But I thought that was just quite a cute little practice drawing, because often you do have to draw and draw and draw, I find, to like get into the act of drawing. This is actually the next one that I made. So this was slightly from a photo and slightly from just looking at my friends. This was just a fun sketch. Like I was saying to them, like I have obviously my own like style, so to speak, and when I'm observing from life, like you're obviously being confused a bit more by the reality as well. But it's obviously also really good to learn from life, so it's like trying to marry those things together. But I found my friend's face particularly difficult because she was looking down a lot, and it just ended up, I think, looking a bit strange. But I think it gave me a reminder that I do need more practice with different gazes and different directions of a gaze, and different like ways people are turning and stuff. Because even here, like, sometimes I don't know how to convey like somebody looking down. It's quite hard without them just looking asleep. So yeah, this one just reminds you like what you need to practice, but I did quite like it. It's just like a drawing of the day kind of thing. This was one that I liked more, where this was like me trying to draw my friends as they looked that day, but more like allowing my own like style to come through. So this was my friend. I ran out of space for Fleetwood, so I just decided to do it on 2 lines. And I quite liked these actually, and these were what they were making. My friend was making like a beaded section on the back of her jeans pocket, and my other friend was making blueberries, as you saw more in the video. little blueberry magnets. It's not necessarily that these are like great likenesses, because I can appreciate that they're not necessarily, but more that I kind of captured the spirit of them within my own kind of style. It almost felt like more like something that would become a project or a comic. So it was nice to marry those two things together. So this was the last thing that I drew in the day. I just drew this completely from my mind. Like I just went with it. I just put the pencil to paper and just went on making it. And I said to my friends, like, I was quite pleased with this actually, particularly the face. I thought it had quite a fun atmosphere, and I was quite pleased that I'm not saying this is a fantastic drawing, but I did draw the full figure and it makes some sense. Like, it makes sense as a drawing. And I'm not always great at drawing like full figures without any reference whatsoever. Faces, I do that all the time, but bodies, not so much. And I can be put off from doing like full figures, and I want to not be so worried. And then I just added a bit of pen that my friend had. When you spent those hours like exploring and sketchbooking, you know, it's like the drawing kind of gets easier and easier, and then you might find yourself drawing something that normally you would have found quite hard to get to. Yeah, I was quite pleased with this actually. As just like a spontaneous like drawing just from my head. Yeah, something quite nice about her, I think. So I finally finished this section of the comic, and you might notice that I've written watch on some of the pages, because I started to realise that in some panels I've been missing drawing Joni's watch. It's just one of those things that you add a detail and then sometimes you might forget to keep doing that detail again. But yeah, apart from that, this was all coloured rather smoothly in the end. Wasn't too difficult as we went on because there was less to colour in. Sorry, yeah, and then that final one. Again, this was like fairly simple. I thought just adding like that panel of colour kind of suggests their divide for that moment. And then, yeah, that's where we're up to in the story. So, yeah, I'm feeling better about this comic now. I feel like I'm closer to the end. I can see it in sight. I just need to go through and check some details on these pages and the other pages. But other than that, like the previous pages are mostly ready to be printed when the time comes. So yeah, feeling quite good about it. Another thing I did recently was just to create this short animation. It's really rough around the edges. The point was just to grab people's attention a little bit, in the hopes of encouraging donations to families that I found through Instagram in Gaza that, you know, on top of everything else they're already dealing with and have dealt with for such a long time, they're now in a forced starvation, a forced famine as well. Yeah, and something as simple as being able to afford flour or find flour or survive the journey to get it is incredibly, incredibly hard. You know, that absolute basic of like life that we would think nothing of is so difficult. So yeah, I just wanted to see if I could, you know, grab people a little bit, and it could be something that people could share beyond just my Instagram stories. So yeah, those links are in my bio, and even if you can just share things as well, even if you can't afford to donate, that is helpful, genuinely. So yeah, just for information, like I created this just with regular Procreate. There's a setting called here called Animation Assist, which you can just turn on, and it puts this thing at the bottom where like it will help you go through the panels so that you can, and what I often do is I'll only at the time look at like 2 panels behind so that I can just move things along. So essentially all this really was like a basic drawing initially, and then I just changed the wing shape. I slightly moved it up and down. I changed the movement of the little bit of leaf, and I moved the hands so that, you know, it went that way, and then the other hands came in from that side. There is a 26 layer limit on Procreate, so that's as much as you can do for an animation, but I still think it's pretty cool for little animations, and I'm glad I managed to make it look believable. I did have to look up like a picture of birds flying, and I was surprised that it worked well enough. Again, I'm no animator and it was pretty rough, but yeah, it was something. My vlogs were always just, I guess, my little simple life, which I'm really, really grateful for. I was even feeling a bit more positive the other day about actually making profit in my business for once. And yet on the horizon I've got a very expensive payment for my Shopify shop, but it is for like 3 years, so once I've paid it I've got plenty of time before it happens again. But yeah, you know, I try and keep going. I'm not very good at business, you know. I'm not great at the business side of things. I'm really trying to. Sometimes it feels really, I'm sure other people feel this, it feels hard to ask people to buy things from you when you know the way the world is. But yeah, I do have an idea for something that I've bought like equipment for, to make maybe a more practical thing in my shop, but I'm gonna test it first before I go all in and buy all the extra postage stuff I would need for it, because everything I've bought so far I could use for something else. So yeah, I'm gonna test that out soon. That'll probably be in my next vlog, actually making stuff like that. So yeah, I guess recently I've really just been focusing in on just drawing the comic, and just allowing myself to rest and be slow and still dealing with my tiredness, I guess. Yeah, I just want to say again, I say this all the time, but I just want to say again, like, I'm so grateful for everyone that watches these videos. And I see like the same names come up, the same subscribers, you know, who clearly make that effort to watch every video. And that's really lovely. You know, it's not about having, you know, tons and tons of people. It's about those people that genuinely really like what you're doing or have connected with something that I'm doing, and they genuinely want to come back and they find something in it, something that is peaceful for them, or they enjoy having it on in the background when they're working on something, or I don't know, you know, it's like hanging out with a friend or something that it gives to them that that they like go back to for comfort or enjoyment, is just really, really wonderful to think that that could happen. So I'm genuinely so grateful, and it's really cool that I have people from all over the world as well. So yeah, I tried to keep this one quite comforting and relaxing, and I'm quite enjoying the nostalgic, slightly added graininess of the 1080p filming. I think it kind of suits my content more, to be honest. And also I was able to take a 30-minute video without it taking 7 hours to transfer to my laptop, so it's all worth it. So yeah, thanks again. Always interested to hear your thoughts or suggestions or things you'd like to see. Anything in that realm. Genuinely, really, really love hearing from you all. Always read all the comments. I'm sure people probably know that by now because I always respond, but I read everything. I care about what you say, and I'm really grateful. Thank you so much. Goodbye.